Hey guys, welcome back to another paper. So here we'll be checking out paper 4H and we're going to do a complete breakthrough of the June 2016 session. So I'm just going to jump straight to the chase here because I know you guys probably might have seen a few of them. So just to note, you're actually given quite a lot of formulas. So you're actually given the Pythagoras Theorem, trigonometry, you're even given some shape and 3D shape formulas such as the volume of a cone, surface area. So this L represents the diagonal length, which can be found using Pythagoras' theorem. So h squared plus r squared equals L squared. Of course, you're given volume of spheres and surface areas. You're given triangle formulas, and yeah, you're given quite a few. And of course, some of the most popular one is the quadratic formula, and the area trapezium, which I really recommend that you check out now and then. So you're actually given quite a lot. So yeah, how about we jump straight into the main question. So question 1. Here are the first 5 terms of an arithmetic sequence. Cool. And 7, 10, 30, 60, 19, and we need to find expression for the nth term. So let's have a go. So what this means is that we just need to write an algebraic term. I like to use this beautiful formula, which is a plus d times n minus 1. This tells you the position, if you are, the nth term position, which is great. A is the first term, so we just look at the first term. In this case, the first term is 7. And we also saw what's it going up in? Well, it's going up in plus 3, so it's just d equals 3. Now we times it by n minus 1. And that's it, guys. All you do now is expand the brackets, so we're going to have 7 plus 3 times n minus 1, which is 3n minus 3. Tidy this up, so 7 take away 3 is 4, so we're left with 4 plus 3n. And voila, here is your nth term. Dead easy example. Let's move on to the next one. Question 2. Solve this expression. Okay, once again, it's all about expanding, so we're going to have 8y minus 18. Multiply the right hand side by 3, you're left with 3y plus 9. Collect the terms, so subtract 3y on both sides, so keep y's on one side. Take away 3y, this goes, and this becomes a 5y. Add 18, this goes, so we're left with 9 plus 18, which is 27. Hopefully my maths is good. And now divide it by 5, and you're left with y equals 27 over 5. Usually you could leave your answer as this, or as a decimal, or even a mixed fraction. So how many 5s in 27 is, there's 5 5s, remainder 2, so 2/5. So you've got various answers. You can keep it at this, or you can keep it as 5.4. I'm just going to choose the fraction, because that's how I personally find easier to work with. Alright, let's move on. Question 3. In the sale, all normal prices are reduced by 20%. The normal price of a television set is 485 euros. Work out the sale price. So we look at the reduction factor and the original price. So the formula I use for this one in every compound interest is that we have firstly the original value multiplied by some rate, so 1 plus or minus the rate, and it should give us the new value. Since we're decreasing, it'll be 1 minus 20%. And since the original value is 485 euros, we're going to now have this. So OV is 485, and we're going to have 1 minus 20%. And that's it. Literally enter this in your calculator, so use a percent button. If you don't have 20%, you can write 0.2, so you can also write 1 minus 0.20. Both work fine. So 485 times 1 minus 20%, and you should get exactly 388 euros. Easy, guys. So easy. Now, part B. So in the sale, the normal price of a tablet is reduced by 79 euros. So guys, this question I've noticed trips up a lot of people. So what they mean here is that the 20% is equivalent to the 79 euros. So 20% equals 79 euros. Find the normal price. In other words, find the original full 100% of the price. So to do that, first thing, we should always find 1%. And to find 1%, divide it by 20. So divide 79 by 20 to get 1%. So it's just 79 over 20 euros. And to get 100%, well, multiply by 100. So in your calculator, guys, put 79 over 20 times 100. And voila, you have 395 euros. Whew, not bad. So these questions actually become quite okay, haven't they? So let me write here, 395. Let's move on. Okay, guys, here we are. Question 4. So what do we have? So we're given a triangle EFG, and we see that AB is parallel CD. So this line here is parallel to that line. Write down the value of P. Okay, so this is quite easy stuff, yeah? So one thing you have to know is that you got a cool Z shape here. Oh my god, that's that's not even that. That's not even a Z. That's some sigma there. So a backwards Z, and we should know that an angle here is always equal to the angle there if it's parallel. Yeah, perfect Z. So this means P is 63 degrees. We also know that the angle 50 here, and so this kind of angle is also equivalent. So we should realize that the value Q is equivalent to this angle here. That means this angle here is equivalent to 50. And because they're parallel, that means every single thing here is 50 degrees. So overall, when it asks us to write down the value of P and Q, we can say P is therefore 63 degrees and Q is 50. Okay. All right, so now let's move on. So this one tells us that there's an hexagon and we need to find the value X. All right, so these kind of questions ain't so bad. So the key idea is that firstly, we need to ask ourselves, firstly, how many degrees are there in a hexagon? Well, sometimes it's not obvious, but thankfully there is a cool formula. It's called the sum of the interior angles. Sum of interior angles. And this tells us that for the number size n, if we subtract it by 2 and times it by 180, this will give us the number size inside a hexagon. To be honest, if you chose a triangle, we know triangle has 3 sides. So therefore, if you use a formula, 3 minus 2 is 1, 1 times 180 is 180 degrees. If you chose a square of 4 sides and plug in a formula, 4 take away 2 is 2, 2 times 180 is 360. So yes, the formula works perfectly. Okay, so now for this one, let's work out. So we have 6 sides, so 6 take away 2 is 4, so 4 times 180 degrees, what does it equal? In your calculator or mentally, you should get 720. So that means that the sum of everything here must be 720. Let's work out the sum, yeah? So we've got 3x plus x is 4x degrees. Now let's add up all these numbers. 139 plus 164 plus 97 plus 156. So on my calculator, I got 556 degrees, so hopefully it's correct. So that means 720 equals 4x plus 556 degrees. Now just doing some simple algebra. So take 556 from 720, you should get 164. So we can say 4x equals 164 degrees. And then therefore dividing it by 4 will give us 41. All right, sweet. That's all you need to do. Okay, so let's move on. So question 5, let's simplify everything. So power rules, I love this part. This always comes up. So m to the power 5 times n to the power 2. So add the powers, n to the power 7. C to the power 11 divided by c to the power 3. Subtract the powers, so 11 take away 3, 8. A to the power 5 times cube. So this means you got literally 3 lots of these. In other words, you can just multiply. So 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 5 times 3 is a to the 15. And lastly, expand and simplify. You know, since we've done a couple questions like this already, so this should be no brainer. So expanding this, so the first one here, multiply by 4, you get 8x plus 12. Multiply these guys by 2, you get 2x plus 10. Add them all up, so 8x plus 2x is a 10x. 12 and 10 make 22. Whew, not bad. Let's move on. Okay, here we are, question 6. So it says students in class 9Y took part in a sponsored swim. Lucky guys. The table gives information about the amount of money in pounds raised by each student. So just a quick breakthrough. So frequency means the number of students in this case. So altogether we've got 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 9 plus 3 students in total. And we can see that from out of those 4 students, they raised up to £6, whereas 6 students raised between 6 and 12 quid and so on. Here they want us to work on an estimate for the total amount of money raised. So just like finding the mean, we need to calculate a specific way. So the key idea firstly is to figure out what the midpoint is, yeah? We need to find the midpoint x. So that's between these numbers. The trick is to firstly add these two numbers and divide it by 2. That will give us the midpoint easily. Or you can just, by inspection, just look at it and see what number is halfway between. So between 6 and 12 we have 9. 12 and 18 is 15, 18, 24 is 21, and 24 and 30 between is 27. Now, all we want to do is find fx, and fx means the frequency, number of people times how much they raise on average. So they raise about £3 per person average. So 4 times 3 is £12. 6 times 9, 54. 8 times 15, 130. 9 times 21, 210, take away. Just use your calculator. 189. And then 3 times 27, I should know this one, 81. And therefore, the total amount raised is simply the sum, so sigma, the sum of fx, which means the sum of the frequency times the average money made. So add up every single number. So do 12 plus 54 all the way up to, what the heck is that? 81. Okay. So guys, if I'm wrong, just let me know if I got any questions wrong, yeah? I mean, value-wise, because sometimes mistyping happens, it's life. So I got £466. Okay. See if you guys got the same and let me know, yeah? Otherwise, let's move on. Right, question 7. So here we're given a table of values. Oh yeah, guys, I don't have a ruler, so yeah. Make sure you have a ruler for these questions, yeah? This app doesn't have a ruler, sadly. So complete the table values for this given function. Easy. So literally plug in this into your calculator and see what you get. If you have a Casio calculator, you actually have a function where you can write this entire equation and it'll give you values. Make sure when you write a function, you put in steps of 1, from -1 to 5, and then boom, you have all the values done for you. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury, so I'm going to do it manually. So in the calculator, firstly, I got 7 here. 1, so 1 take away 4 minus 3 plus 2 minus 1. You know what? Just to make sure I'm right, yep, minus 1. If you put 4, so 16, take away 16, so this would be 2. 25, so 25 take away 20 is 5 plus 2, 7. So yeah, so you're going to get like a symmetrical curve because it's a quadratic, so usually it's symmetrical. Now all we want to do is plot these coordinates into this graph below. So since it's quadratic, so -1, 7. So you always run before you jump. So -1, 7. 0, 2, which is 0, 2, and it's going to be once I get halfway, it'll be fine. -1, no, 1 minus 1, so 1 minus 1. 2 minus 2. Okay, and then yeah, the rest will be symmetrical. So it'll be here, 4 would be at 2, and 5 would be at what's 5? God, 5 looks kind of weird, doesn't it? 5, yeah, it'll be at 7. Now all you do is try and link it. So this is going to be the hardest part for me. God, oh, man. Ooh. Yeah, I need to find another app. But yeah, you might have a very smooth curve here. So not the smoothest curve here. So make sure it's smooth, guys, yeah? Writing is easy, but drawing on this with no actual sketch app is kind of hard. Anyway, let's move on. All right, guys, here we are, question 8. So yeah, I got some red marks there because I was trying to sketch it, but I realized I have to do it manually. Anyway, what's the question asking? So we have to ask ourselves exactly what is the single transformation that maps A to B. In other words, how do we describe how A went to B? What exactly do we have, and what is firstly the center of enlargement? We need to know from what position are we at to find it. Well, the cool thing is that if you have a ruler, which you should have, you want to draw a projection line. So pick a corner from here to here, so the same corners, and then draw a straight line. Okay, and see where it cuts through, yeah? So, okay, so that's really bent, but it should look something like that. And then do another one, so from this corner to this corner, so 2 down. So far they intersect here. And then you just draw another one, so I'm going to pick this corner here. So this is just my projection line. Yep. So this point 10 would be the point where we have our center of enlargement. Now all we have to say that so we can say transformation from A to B is, firstly, what is it? It's an enlargement scale factor 2 at center 1 0. Oh, get lost. Warning. So at 1 0, and that's it. You pretty much have to keep it as basic here. Transformation from A to B is, and then you stay it's enlargement of scale factor 2 at, oh my god. Ignore that, guys. Sorry about that. So on the grid, okay, never mind. So on the grid, translate triangle A by a vector of 5 and minus 4. So this means 5 across and going down by 4. So where is A? So all we do is move A 5 across, so to the right, 5 to the right, and 4 down. That's literally the vector. So I just pick one corner. Let me change the color of the pen as well. Let's say blue. So 5 across, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the corners here, 2, 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. Now we just replicate that shape. So it's 1 up and 3 across. Voila. And we call this triangle C. If you have a question like this, guys, then trust me, dead easy. All right, cool. 1 mark. Oh god, more triangle problems. So on the grid below, rotate triangle 90 degrees anti-clockwise with center 3, 1. So firstly, the center 3, 1 is here. So what we have to do is try and spin this towards one direction, yeah? Now the easy way to do this is to think of a 90 degrees here. So what I do is I put a corner here and I try to make a 90 degrees. So it moves one block across. So to make a 90 degrees, it has to make another block like this. So this is going to now appear over here. And then we do another thing. We do the same thing with this one, yeah? So it moves this way, 2 blocks across diagonally. So it needs to make a perfect 90 degrees. So it has to go 2 blocks up here. So now this long part is on this corner. So if you see clearly, let's change the color. We can just connect the line. So this is just, you have to be very artistic here, yeah? Then you just replicate the shape. Okay, not bad. So this would be our new shape. And that's it. So it's all about art here. So try and make some perfect right angles, yeah? It always helps, you know, just try and, it's all about using key visual senses. So yeah, practice makes perfect. Okay, moving on. Work out the perimeter triangle. Oh god, I love this question. So this is just a case of Pythagoras Theorem. You go right angle, Pythagoras Theorem, and then just add them up. So let's call this side x, the hypotenuse. So Pythagoras Theorem states that we need to, that the square of the two shorter sides equals the square of the longer side. So it'll be 60 squared plus 13.5 squared must equal x squared. And then finally, perimeter, you add them all up. So solving this, well, put this 60 squared plus 30.5 squared in the calculator and then square root it. So this means x is going to be, whatever you put this, whatever the solution of this one in the calculator is square rooted. So let's have a go. That means 60 squared plus 13.5 squared will give us 61.5. And then the perimeter means you add them all up. So perimeter P, add up all 3 lengths, plus 60 plus, and you should get 135 centimeters. Easy. All right, here we are, question 10. Okay, I love this question. So here we're given the highest common factor between two numbers is 20 and one of them is x. The lowest common multiple between 140 and x is 420. Find the value x. All right, the reason why I love this question is because you can actually solve this easily using a Venn diagram. Trust me. And all you need to know is that the center is the highest common factor, is what's in common between two. Whereas all these 3 cells, all these 3 Venns are actually the lowest common multiple. The total sum of or total product of these will give you 420. So let's go ahead and label things. So we got this, we can call this 140 and this one x. We know straight off the bat that in between is 20. That's what they have in common. And we know that the product of all these 3 numbers is 420. So before we do that, we can realize that firstly, to find the product to get 140, we know that a number times 20 will give us 140. And we can see that this number must be 7, because 7 times 20 is 140. Now, we don't know what this number is, so let's call it A. We need to ask ourselves, firstly, if the lowest common multiple between these 3 numbers is 420, then we can say that 7 times 20 times A must be 420. So 7 times 20 times A equals 420. Now we just do some simple maths. So 7 times 20 is 140. 140 times A is 140A. And then to find a, just divide it by 140. So you should get a equals 3. And that's it, guys. If a equals 3 here now, so I can just rub this out and put the value as 3. This means that x is the product of 20 and 3. So x equals 20 times 3. And hence the solution is 60. Well, I was about to get that wrong. It's 60. Okay, hopefully this is clear. I recommend the Venn diagram method because it's so cool. All right, let's move on to number 11. All right, so the table gives us populations of 5 different countries: China, India, USA, Ethiopia, and Mexico, and the population. So key note of advice, the number with the highest power is the biggest. Anything to power 9 is a billion. Anything to power 6 is a million. So between that is between a million and a billion. Clearly, China has the biggest, followed by India. So these are just facts, we just need to know this. Now, A, write down 9.7 times 10 to the power 7 as an ordinary number. So this is firstly 10 million. So 9.7 times 10 million. The trick is that the 7 represents the number digits after the 9. So 7 counts as one of them. So 10 to the power 7. So we're going to have 9 and then 7 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and just put the commas here. Voila, 97 million. Put this as an ordinary number, so this answer wouldn't be correct. 97 million would, yeah? The population of Russia in 2014 was 140 million, so here we go. Write 140 million standard form. Well, again, firstly, it's the number digits after the first digit. So we have here 3, 6, 8 digits. So it's just going to be 1.4 times 10 to the power of 8 digits. Okay, let's move on to part C. So in 2014, there were more people living in China than there were in the USA. How many more? Okay, so let's see China and USA firstly. So China is 1.4 times 10 to the power 9. And China is 3.2. And USA is 3.2 times 10 to the power 8. So China is obviously far bigger. Let's subtract them, yeah? So we're going to have 1.4 times 10 to the power of, was it 9? Yep. Minus 3.2 times 10 to the power of 8. Let me just double check those figures. Yep. One easy way, of course, is to just smash this in the calculator and get your answer. Alternatively, if you can't do that, the idea is to make them both have the same power so you can actually do this subtraction. So how do we do this? Well, what we could do is scale this value. So instead of writing 1.4 times 10 to the power 9, I could multiply, I can pull out a 10 from this to make it 10 to the power 8 and give that 10 to this one. So it'd be 1.4 times 10, which is 14. Now, or you can now, thankfully, this is easy. So now we can actually subtract this. Since they're both 10 to the power 8, we can do 14 take away 3.2. Should give us 10.8 times 10 to the power 8. Oh my god, that actually looks so similar. And then in standard form, we just push the decimal back one place. So we just take a 10 out of this and give it to this figure here. So this is now going to give us 1.08 times 10 to the power 9. So the idea is, if you're going to pull out 10 from this, you have to give it to the other guy. If you're taking the 10 from here, you give it to the figure in front of it. So that's your answer, 1.08 times 10 to the power 9. Just double check in the calculator and just see if you actually do get the result, because I'm curious. Okay, all right, you get the big answer, but you can just count digits. It says here you get 1.08 billion, so it's fine. All right, let's move on to part D. So in 2014, the population of India was K times the population of Mexico. So we can say, population of India equals K times the population of Mexico. So just replace the figures. Give your answer to the nearest whole number. So find the value of K. So that means K is obviously, if you divide population of Mexico, so we can say K is the population of India over the population of Mexico. All right, let's do it. India over Mexico. So you can even put this in your calculator. 1.3 times 10 to the power 9 over 1.2 times 10 to the power 8. So it is a calculator after all. Power 9, 1.2 times 10 to the power 8. Easy. So 1.3 over 1.2 we need to work out. You can just put that in your calculator, I suppose. You get 13 over 12. Okay. As a decimal. So you get 1.08 0.083 dot 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 times, and 10 to the power 9 over 10 to the power 8 would just be, so subtract the powers, you get 10 to the power 1, so just 10. So give your answer to the nearest whole number. Okay, so give it to the nearest whole number. So actually solve this. That means you should get 10.8. If you multiply this, you get about 10.833. Nearest whole number, so 11. Easy stuff. Okay, that was cool actually. Not too bad at all. Let's move on. Right, here we are, question 12, guys. So let's start jumping into this. Now, what do we have here? So it looks like we're dealing with similar triangles because you got parallel lines, so yeah, not too bad. So the diagram shows triangle ACD, right? You're given some lengths, 4, 11.7, and so on, so they're actually all here, you don't need to worry. We know these two are parallel, and so what do we do? Calculate the length of AB. Okay, so the short length. So first things first, look at two lengths and try and see where they're parallel. So we can take 6 and 30.5. So this means 6 and 30. So we need to check firstly what is the scale factor. So we can see that 13.5 is exactly something times bigger than 6. So you can do 13.5 over 6. 13.5 divided by 6 will give you 2.25. So that is our scale factor. Easy. So divide these two numbers. Now, in order to get the length AB is a certain scale times smaller than the whole length AC. So you can see AC and AB are directly proportional. So we can just do 11.7 divided by the scale factor. So I can say 11.7 divided by the scale factor. And what's that? So 11.7 divided by 2.25. What does that give us? Divided by 2.25, and you should get 5.2. So this is 5.2 centimeters. Easy stuff actually. Find the length of ED, same thing, yeah. So ED, so scale factor is 2.25. We know the length of AE is 4. So the whole length AD is 2.25 times bigger, and then we can subtract it from 4. So let's do it. So 4 times 2.25 will give you 9. So the whole length AD is 9. So let's just draw it here. 9 centimeters. And to get the small one, subtract 9 and 4, you get 5. And that's it. The answer is 5. That's all. There's no area. Usually you get an area one. Now 13. M is directly proportional to P cubed. So this means that M is directly proportional to P cubed. This also means that M equals K times P cubed. Find the formula for M in terms of P. Okay, we did that. However, we got some numbers. So we need to get rid of the value K and actually solve it. So when M is 128, P is 8. So we can just replace the value. So M is 128, K and P is 8. So 8 cubed. Therefore, using algebra, dividing 8 cubed, you're going to get K equals 128 over 8 cubed. Putting this in the calculator, you should get a quarter. That means to find the formula for M in terms of P, replace K with a quarter and you're left with M equals a quarter P cubed. Sweet. Find the value M and P is 5. Simple stuff. So M equals quarter times P cubed in the calculator. So 1 over 4 times P cubed. And I got 31.25. Nice. So easy. Let's go. Okay, let's simplify this algebraic fraction. Alright, so it doesn't look so bad. So first you need to spot two things. One, we have a difference of 2 squares. The top one is the dots. Difference of 2 squares. And the second one is just standard quadratic. I guess the difference is that A here equals 2. The coefficient is 2. So we need to just be careful how we solve that one. Okay, so let's check it out. So to factorize this one, we need to realize that the form is simply you just square root the x squared and square root 25 to give us the dot form. So it always looks a bit like this. So it'll be x plus 5 and x minus 5. So it's just square each term and stick a plus minus. For the bottom one, factorize it. We know one term is going to have a 2x and one's going to have an x. You see, my guess is that one's going to be a 5. So you can cancel one of these out. And because you got 5 here, we need to think of two numbers at times to get 5. Of course, the only possibility is 1 and 5 because 5 itself is prime. So one goes so one must go here and 5 must go here, probably, or the other way around. To check this, think of the same two numbers that can give you a sum or difference of 9, and one of these numbers will of course be multiplied by 2. The only possibility is that if we multiply 5 by 2, we get 10 and 1, which gives you a difference of 9. So 5 times 2, so I'll put 5 here, will give us 10, and 1 will give us x, 1x. So 10 take away 1, or actually minus 10 plus 1 to give us minus 9. And that's it. Well, guess we're done here, guys. Now all we do now is simply cancel down. So cancel the x minus 5, and you're left with x plus 5 over 2x plus 1. Sweet. Easy stuff. Okay, algebraic fractions now. So let's write both of these into a single fraction. So the easiest way to do it is to find a common denominator. So 1 is 5, 1 is 3. That means the common denominator between 5 and 3 is actually 15. So to get this, the left side to 15, multiply by 3. To get this whole side to 15, multiply by 5. Let's do it. So x plus 3 over 5 times it up and down by 3. You should get 3x plus 9 over 15. Times the right side by 5, you should get 5x minus 10 over 15. Now all you do is just pretty much add the top half. So let me just write it here. Therefore, 3x plus 5x is 8x. 9 take away 10 is minus 1. All over 15. Alright, good. Not so bad. B. Simplify this one, and we're going to do C soon. So to simplify this, you just find, so this power third means the cubic root. So when you're dealing with fractions, they're always roots. Half means square root, a third means cube root, a fourth means fourth root, and so on. So let's take it term by term. So first we need the cube root of 8. We should know that that should give you a 2. When you got the cube root of 8 to the power 9, you just do 9 times a third, which is 3. So a third of 9 is 3. And same with E, a third of 6 is 2. So that's your answer. As for this one, solve this equation. Well, and show clear algebraic working. Let's ignore the 5 for a second, yeah? And let's put the y properly. So 2/3 of y. This literally means 2y over 3. And 3/8 of y means 3y over 8. Just like we did in part A, let's unify this into a single fraction. So we need to find a common denominator of 3 and 8, which just multiplying it, you can just say it's 24. So we need to multiply all of the right side by 3. So let me just change colors. Multiply this side by 3 and this side by 8. So this means we should get, what should we get? So 8 times 2y is 16y all over 24, plus times the side by 3, you should get 9y over 24. And all of this must equal 5 from the original equation. Combining the fraction, 16y plus 9y is 25y all over 24 equals 5. And that's easy. So now you multiply 24 and divide by 25. So y equals 5 times 24 over 25. And that should give you guys 25, 4.8. Or is a fraction 24 over 5. Yeah, not bad. Let's move on, yeah? Okay, question 16. Okay, so a probability question. So I actually enjoy these questions. Not so bad. So in the bag, there is a total of 20 coins. So we can see that 10 coins are 20-cent coins, 6 coins are 10 cents, 4 coins are 5-cent coins, and yeah, so that's what we have. So Emma takes at random 2 of the coins from the bag. All right. So suppose the first coin she took was a 20-cent coin. Of course, it's 10 out of 20 because it's 20 coins. That means to take a 10-cent coin must mean there's 6 out of 10. So where's my pen? So 6 out of 10. And then 5-cent coins is 4 out of 10 because that's how many there are. Now let's try and complete the rest of the diagram. So assuming that, okay, so let's see what we get. So assuming that the first coin was a 20-cent coin, so now she had 10 now, therefore she must have 9 left. That means the total count is 19 coins. But of course, she still has 6 and 4 of the other coins left. Okay. Now for the second row, suppose she took a 10-cent coin. She has 6 initially. Now therefore she only has 5 10-cent coins left. Oh yeah, these properties are 20 by the way. So it'll be 5 out of 19. That means, and if she took a 10-cent coin initially, that means she didn't take any 20, so she still got all of them left. Still got 10 out of 19, and it still has 4 out of 19 5-cent coins. And for this one, if she took a 5-cent coin, which she had 4, now she only has 3 left over 19. And that means she didn't take the other 2, so she still has 6 and 10 left, both over 19. Easy stuff. So it's just a case of counting. B, work out the probability that Emma takes 2 5-cent coins. So probability this one is basically taking a 5-cent coin the first time and then 5-cent coin the second time. So looking at the tree, taking a coin, 5-cent coin first is 4 over 20, and taking again is 3 over 19. So we just multiply them up. So 420 times 3/19. So put this in the calculator, what do you get? 4 times 3 over 20 times 19. I got 3 over 95. Or as a percentage, or no, it looks kind of horrible. So 3 over 95 is fine. Work out the probability that the total value of the 2 coins is 20 cents or less. Alright, so we just need to think about this carefully. So we need to just look at this tree and think of every combination we get that can make it 20 cents or less. I think it's best you write here. So what I would personally do, let's write the combination. So if we took a 20-cent coin, it's impossible because then you can only take 5 or 10, so you make more than 20. You could take a 10 coin first time, take a 5 coin second, and yeah, that's it, 10 and 5, so you get 15. Or you can take a 10 and a 10, which works, but you can't take 10 and 20. Now, however, if the first coin you took was 5, you can take a 10. If this first coin is 5, you can also take a 5. And is that it? 20, 10, 10, 10, 5, yes. 5, 10, 5, 20, 5, 5. Oh yeah, you can also take a 5. Wait, yep, I think that's it. So that's it. Now you just literally work out the probability of each one and then sum them up. So this is easy stuff. So probably taking a 10 and 5, so 10 and 5, so it'll be 6/20 and 4/19. So 620 times 4/19. And then taking a 10/10, so taking 620 and 5/19. So yeah, it's just going to be a whole lot of probabilities here. Next one, 510 and 5/5, so 420 and 6/19. So let me just write 420 here as well. 6/19, and this one I remember is 3/19 because you took 1, you got 1 left, you got 3 left. Okay, now the long process is to times all these probabilities. So okay, let's try this. So I'm going to have a go all of this. So it'll be 20 times 19, 6 times 4 plus 6 times 5 plus 4 times 6 plus 4 times 3. Okay, so I'm not perfectly sure, but I did I times them all and summed them up, and I got 9 over 38. So work out each probability and then just sum them up. Okay, and just compare answers, see what you guys got. Okay, but this is the general idea. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, number 17. Right, so we're given 2 functions, f and g, and a is telling us to find a function at the point 4. So this is easy. This just means you replace x with the value of 4. So this is going to give us 2 times 4 minus 5. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 take away 5 is 3. Nice. So next one, B. Find the function at the point g minus 4. So fg minus 4 means that you're going to plug in g minus 4 into the f function. So first things first, what is g minus 4? G minus 4 is when you plug in minus 4 to the g function. So you can get minus 4 squared minus 10. So minus 4 squared is 16. Take away 10 is 6. Now we're going to plug in the value g minus 4 into the f function. So f of g minus 4 is literally f at the value of 6. So replacing the x with 6. So we're going to have 2 times 6 minus 5. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 5 is 7. Okay, easy stuff. Now part C, express the inverse function f minus 1 in the form of this. In other words, we need to rewrite this function into the inverse. Now the simple way to do this is to simply flip the fx into an x and flip the x into a y. So the original function, let's just write here, fx equals 2x minus 5. We're going to flip this fx into an x, and we're going to flip this x into a y. And we're going to say let y equal the inverse function of x. And that's it. Now all you want to do is just make y the subject, and then voila, you have it here. So to do that, you can just add 5 and divide it by 2. So it'll be x plus 5 over 2. And that is the inverse. It's very easy. D, solve the g fx when it equals minus 1. In other words, plug in fx into the g function. So fx is 2x minus 1. We're going to replace this x value with 2x minus 5. So this means that the function now, which was originally, let me just see again, x squared minus 10 is now 2x minus 5 squared minus 10. So it'll be 2x minus 5 squared minus 10. So this was the original g. Now replace the x and g with this. And of course, according to this function, all of this must equal negative 1. All right, looks like we're almost there. So the way to solve this, you could do it two ways. Solve it like a quadratic, or just do it like you're completing a square. I'm going to take the second option because I think it's faster. So let's find x here. So firstly, plus 10 across, so you're going to have 2x minus 5 squared. So minus 1 at 10 is 9. Square root this, you're going to have 2x minus 5 equals plus minus root 9 or 3. Add 5, you have 2x equals 5 plus minus 3. And lastly, divided by 2, 5 plus minus 3 over 2. Now this plus minus business, there's two answers. Well, it depends. Yeah, there's two answers. So firstly, when you add 3, when you do add this, so you go 5 plus 3, which is 8. 8 over 2 will give us 4. So x can equal 4. Or if you subtract 3, 5 take away 3 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. So these are your two solutions. Okay, so just quick recap. I recommend you pause this, have a look at this again, and double check it. Otherwise, let's move on. Okay, question 18. Whew. So at this stage, you're all probably getting a bit tired because this is a long paper. Anyway, let's have a go, yeah? So what do we have here? So it looks like we've got histograms. So Miss Cook asked each student in her class how long it took them in minutes to travel to school that morning. Well, what a nice teacher. The incomplete histogram shows information about the times it took the students who took no more than 30 minutes to travel to school. Okay, so you can see the limit is 30 minutes, so that's what we care about. Right. Now, according to this information, 9 students took between 15 and 30 minutes to travel to school. So this means this block here has a frequency of 9. How many students took no more than 30 minutes to travel to school? Okay, so we're going to find a total. So find the areas of every block. What I would personally do is firstly try and figure out what the height is, because this height seems to be unknown. What you could do is just do some simple math and realize that this is 15, so the class width here seems to have a width of 15, 30 take with 15. So this, and remember, this is just a rectangle, so you can use the area of a rectangle. So 15 times some height must give us 9. Alternatively, you can just do 9 divided by 15. So 9 over 15 should give us 0.6. So this means we have a height here. So let me make a height of 0.6. Now if we look to the left a bit, let's try and see where that falls. So if this is 0.6, I'm just with a gut feeling and just assume everything goes up in 0.1. So let's see, we got 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. Yeah, cool. So that means this fat line is 0.5. 0.1, so this line here is 0.2, 0.5, this line here of course is 0.6, 0.7, and this major line is 0.8. So yeah, so we've kind of done it. Now we just calculate the areas. So the area of the rectangle in the middle, it's got a width of 5, so this is just a tiny width of 5. 5 times the height is 0.8. So in your calculator, 5 times 0.8 will give you an area of 4. So 4 people in this long one. And the small one is a width of 10. 10 times 0.2. So this is not too bad, but I'm just going to use a calculator, and I got 2. So this means that the total number of students that took no more than 30 minutes is 2 plus 4 plus 9. Plus 4 plus 9. And 6, 9, so this should be 15 students. Now, according to this one, 12 students took between 30 and 55 minutes to travel to school. Use this information to complete histogram. So, okay, breather. So this means that there's a class width of 25 because 55 take away 30 is 25 minutes. So 55 is here, isn't it? So we know that the class width is 25. We know that there was a total of 12 students. So that means the area is 12. So if you think about it, let me just draw it here. If I just draw a little sketch here, if the area is 25, if the area is 12 and the width is 25, that means 25 times some height will give us 12. Or 12 divided by 25 will give us a height of 0.48. Oh, so 0.48. So 0.48 is about here. Because I'm just counting. Wait, no, it can't be. That's 0.4, 1 block. So 0.5 is literally 1 block. So it's actually this thin line here. And it goes all the way up to here. That's it. Now you just sketch it downwards. So use a ruler, guys. Don't do like me, yeah? You don't get marks for that. Change the color of your pen, or in this case you're using black, so shade in. And this area is 12. Okay, hope this helped, guys. Yeah, 55, the high is 4.8. And you just gotta check. That's really it. Okay, excellent. So that's done. Sirs. These guys are my biggest enemy. Seriously, I hate dealing with sirs, but hey, let's have a go. So simplify this quadratic looking surd. So we've got 7 plus 2 root 50 times 5 minus 2 root 2. Give your answer in this, into this kind of answer. So notice you got root 18. This tells me firstly that there's no root 18 here, so we need to do some math manipulation to get this working. For 3 marks. Okay, generous. Not really generous. Anyway, let's expand this and see what happens, yeah? So expanding the bracket, 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 2 root 2 is 14 root 2, so times whole numbers together. 2 root 50 and times 5 will give us 10 root 50. And lastly, 2 root 50 times 2 root 2, change the sign negative, times the whole numbers you get 4, times the surds you get 100. Okay, let's take our time here, guys, yeah? So my advice is to just simplify as much as you can, yeah? I mean, truth is, you have a calculator, you can actually just put root 50 and simplify it, 100 and simplify it, you could. But let's do it manually because we need to show our working clearly. So what do we have? We've got 35 take away, so 14 root 2, you can't do nothing much. Root 50 you can. Let me just change the color of my pen, yeah? So for root 50, we can break it down to firstly root 2 root 25. And notice square root 25 is actually 5, so we're left with 5 root 2. So we've got 10 times 5 root 2, which means 10 times 5 is 50, 50 root 2. And root 100 is easy. Square root of 100 is 10, so 4 times 10 is 40. All right, so now we're getting somewhere. So this looks like we're breaking it down. Okay, so we've got 35. Let's collect whole numbers. So 35 take away 40 is minus 5. Okay. Minus 14 root 2 plus 50. So 50 take away 14 is plus 36 root 2. Because they both have root 2, you can collect them. So far that looks, I believe, correct. I hope it's correct. 2 times 2 is 4. Yep, looks good to me. 7 times 5, 35. So now all we have to do is somehow up this to a root 18. The smart thing to do, if you think about it, how do you get 2 to 18? Well, we can times this by 9. And to balance it, we need to actually sort of reverse rationalize it. So we have to times this figure up and down by root 9. Because if you times up and down, it's like times it by 1. Because dividing the same number gives you 1, so it has no effect on the equation. Now, if we distribute this root 9 to root 2, we get root 18. So we should have something like this, minus 5 plus 36 root 18 over root 9. Thankfully, root 9 is actually just 3. So 36 divided by 3 is 12. So finally, we should have, let me put it down here, minus 5 plus, so 36 over 3. Remember, this is 3. Will give us 12 root 18. And that's it, guys. I believe this is the final answer. Of course, I want you guys to double check this and see if you get the same result, but I think it looks okay. You know, I think it looks okay. Let's move on. Okay, question 20. So it looks like we're given some kind of shape. So the diagram shows a solid shape made from a cone on top of a cylinder. Okay, so we need to make sure we know our cone and cylinder formulas. The cone has a radius of 10 and a height of 10. All right, makes sense. The cylinder has a radius of 10 and a height of 10. That means if this radius is 10, that means the radius of the cone must also be 10. Okay. Oh yeah, it says that the center of the base of the cone coincides with the center of the top face of the cylinder. The total surface area of the solid is a centimeter squared. Okie dokie. So we need to somehow prove this formula. So surface area. Okay, thankfully it's not too bad because you're actually given the majority of these formulas in the beginning of the book. So let's go and distribute the surface areas. So first things first, the surface area of a cylinder, the surface area of the base, and the surface area of the cone. Hold on, so the center of the base of the cone coincides with this. So it looks like you might have to find the center of this one too. Now, the easiest thing to do is just to scroll up to the formula book, because that's what I would do if I was you. And I'll look at what I need. So we have a cone. Thankfully, we know that the curved surface area of the cone is pi RL. So this is this part, pi RL. It doesn't tell you the fact that this part here is pi R squared. This part here is pi RL. And L, just to be clear, is it can be solved using Pythagoras. So L squared equals h squared plus r squared. And in the purpose of this one, that means L equals root h squared plus r squared. As for the cone, the surface area is 2 pi r h. So this is this part. This part is 2 pi r h. Of course, the circles are pi r squared and pi r squared. So let's write all these formulas down. So you've got 2 pi r h for the cone and pi r l. Let's go down to question 20. All right, that was quick. So the cone was 2 pi r h. This top half is pi r l. The circle pi r squared, pi r squared. Let me change the color of the pen, make it easy. So what do we know? The height is 10 and the radius is 10 for this cone. So that's easy. So this is 10, 10. 2 times 10 times 10 should give us 200 pi. So this part is 200 pi. Pi r squared. So the radius is 10, right? So 10 squared, so this is 100 pi. Easy stuff. Yeah, we don't need this one because it coincides, so this part is not needed. Let me just remove that, because then that would just cause a problem. And plus you can tell because you only get 300, so 100 plus 200 is 300. Now last one, pi r l. So let's take this in a 2D shape, yeah? We know that the diagonal side is L, and if we split this in the middle, we got the vertical height is 10 and the radius is 10. So this is a right angle triangle. So using Pythagoras Theorem to find L, we got 10 and 10. We can say that L squared equals 10 squared plus 10 squared. That means L equals the square root of 100 plus 100, which is root 200. And R, of course, is 10, so that's solution here. So in your calculator, you can type 10 times, so that means pi here would be pi times 10 times root 200. Put this in your calculator, 10 times root 200. Oops, hold on. Okay, maybe you shouldn't do that. Just type root 200 first. Bear with me. You get 10 root 2. So root 200 is 10 root 2 times another 10 should give us 100 root 2. So therefore the answer here is 100 root 2 pi. All right, so show that the total surface area is 300 plus 100 root 2 pi. Well, it was clear. You just add up the surface area. So you got 100 root 2 plus 200 plus 100. So area equals 100 pi plus 200 pi plus 100 root 2 pi. Just factorize pi because they all have pi, and then add up these two. You got 300 here, you got 100 root 2 pi. Easy stuff. I love these kind of questions because they're kind of creative in a way. You just have to try and spot it. But yeah, let's move on. Okay, so question 21. So each student in a group of 32 students was asked the following question. All right, prepare. Do you have a desktop computer, D, a laptop, L, or a tablet, T? So according to this, the answers show that 19 students had a desktop computer, 17 had a laptop, L, 16 students had a tablet. Now, this is the part where you go pay attention for Venn. 9 students have both a desktop computer and a laptop, and so on. And 5 students have all 3. Using this information, complete the Venn diagram to show that the number of students in each appropriate subset. All right, easy. So when you do triple Venn diagrams or double even, always work out the center first, because if you got the center, then you can use some simple subtraction or total sum to find the correct Venn for each 3 elements. So first things first, we can see that, let me try and highlight this, that 5 students have all 3. This means that the center must be 5 because everybody has it. Next, we look at the next 3 options. Yeah, so let me change the colors. I always like to divide them. Let's do all these 3. So 9 students have both a desktop computer and a laptop. So where's desktop computers? The D and L, right? So 9 have both D and L, so that means the total here is 9. So 4 plus 5 is 9. Okay, 11 have a D and T. So D and T, so 11. So the total of this quantity is 11. So 5 plus 6 is 11. And lastly, 7 students have a laptop and tablet. So 5 plus 2 is 7. All right, simple. Now, let's take the next set. So this is now the overall arching set. So if you look from here, this is the entire set. So D, 19 students have a desktop. So the total here is 19. So 4 plus 5 plus 6, subtract from 19. 19, take away 4 plus 5 plus 6. So this means this must be a 4. For the laptop, 17 have a laptop. So 9, 11, so 6 more. Oh, oopsie. And tablet, 16 have a tablet. So 6, 11, 13, 3. Okay, and then something goes outside. Now, this is pretty much the remainder of who is in the list. So we have a total of 32 students. So just to make it clear, 32 students, yeah. That means we go check how much this all adds up to. So 4, 6, so 10, 15, 25, 30. So I think it's 2 outside. Double check the maths, guys, yeah? Let me just take again. So 10, 15, 20. Wait. 10, 15, 25, 30. Yep. All right, yeah, I believe it's 2 outside. So one of the students with both a desktop computer and a laptop is chosen random. So they have basically a desktop and a laptop. So they cover this cell. So we ignore the 3 and 2 here. Find a property that this student also has a tablet. So if you're in D and L, you must also have a tablet. So they have a, okay, you're in D and L, so that means they also have a tablet. So you actually, so 9 people so far have a desktop computer and a laptop. And if you have a tablet, it will be 5 out of these 2 cells. So it'll be 5 out of 9. So it'll be, we check this quantity, which is 4 here and 5, and tablet is here 5. So it'll be 5 over 4 plus 5, which is 9. So 5 9ths. Okay, well, I hope this helped anyway. Let's keep going. Well, I'm actually starting to get so hungry, so I'm going to try and do this as efficiently as possible for you guys. All right, so looking at this, we can see that I'm going to assume these two are the midpoints, but let's check. So P is the point on OM such that OP is a quarter of OM. So P, so the length of OP is a quarter of the length of OM. That makes sense. That means you can treat this as 1 part and 4 parts. So if this was a length of, okay, so this is a quarter of OM and this must be 3/4 of OM. Okay, you can treat it like this. So you can call this one. Oh yeah. So let's see. OP is P. Then this must be 3P, because if this is a length of 4, this is just a quarter of that total length. Right. And then going from O to Q is small q, and we can see that Q is the midpoint of ON, so this must also be Q as well. So there's a total length of 2. R is the midpoint of PN. Cool. Okay, so you make sure you always. So my advice is to always label your vector diagram. Okay, always try and label P, 3P, and try and carefully analyze here. So this is a quarter length, so there must be a total of 4 parts. This is a midpoint, so it must be a total of 2 parts. So as long as you add up the vectors, you should be fine. Okay, so we've got quite a few problems. So find, in terms of P and Q, the vector going from M to N. So we start at M, we need to make our way to N. To do that, go through the known vectors. So you can go this direction, so minus 4P plus 2Q. Easy, so minus 4P plus 2Q. Going from P to R. So going from P to R, we know that P to R is half of P to N. So because you can't directly go there, we can go from P to N, but if we can go from P to N, then we can figure out P to R. So P to R is half the distance, or half the size of P to N, where P to N is simply minus P plus 2Q. You just simply follow this track. So PR is half of this value, so therefore half of this would just be minus half P plus half of 2 is 1, so minus plus Q. And that's it. That's quite cool. I think, let me just double check. Yep, that's fine. Alright, so use the vector method to prove that QR is parallel to OP. Okay, let's look at QR and OP. So QR parallel to OP, so God, that does not look parallel. QR, OP, so we need to prove that this is somehow parallel to this. Visually it doesn't, but like, vectors, they can look parallel. It just remember, it's not drawn accurately. Now to show it, all we need to show that for certain terms to be parallel, they need to have a multiple of the vector. So if this is P, this must be a scale factor of P. Anyway, let's have a go. Let's try and get from Q to R firstly, yeah? Let's see what the value Q to R is, and then we can compare it to OP. So QR. We need to see that Q to R is, we can go from, where should we go? We can go from back to O to P and then P to R. So it could be minus Q plus P. Let's do that. Minus Q plus P plus, and then we're going from the vector P to R. We know what P to R is. P to R is this quantity here. So it'd be minus half P plus Q. Now tidying this up, what do we have? So minus Q and plus Q cancel out, so we're left with P take away half P, which is just half P. And yes, half P is proportional, so therefore we can say QR is proportional to OP. Why? Because they both have a factor P. So this means that they both have the same direction P, but QR is actually half the size of OP, since OP equals P. So bottom line is, make sure they have the same vectors, the same in terms of P. This is just half the size of P. So QR is half the size of OP. Looking at it now, yeah, it does look kind of half of it. So I think that's it. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's the end of the paper. So hopefully this has been helpful. You know, sometimes the questions can get me a bit tired, but overall, let me know if this has been helpful overall. And if it has, please give me a big fat like, share with your friends, and let them know about more upcoming papers I'll deliver. So I'll be having 4H and 4HRs and the rest of them.